Level 1. Pickup Hustler. You drag a sagging mattress by its torn handle through a second-floor hallway. At the driveway, you slap a crooked magnetic sign onto the rusted pickup door. With a grunt, you wedge a splintered dresser drawer beneath a lawn chair in the pickup bed. By the curb, you refuse the homeowner's wrinkled $20 bill during the argument. You post a messy curb photo through the cracked phone screen. Across the borrowed pickup, you tighten a frayed orange ratchet strap over the junk. With one shoulder braced against the wall, you carry a bulging black trash bag down the narrow apartment stairwell. Before the landfill run, you pull bent copper pipe from the trash pile. You wipe sweat with a stained gray hoodie sleeve beside another lowball message. At the garage, the homeowner lifts a buckling door and reveals junk stacked almost to the ceiling. You load tied furniture into a tower above the pickup bed. In the alley, you face the landlord beside the dented dumpster. You set the donated wingback chair onto the thrift dock. Beside the gas pump, you count a folded cash stack after 3 jobs. You back the pickup toward the roll-up storage door through rolling dust. At the office window, you point toward the wall clock during closing pressure. You stack vertical bed frame rails upright beside bags and boxes. At the scale booth, you read the landfill receipt above the day's quote. You slam the rattling tailgate latch and stare across the dump road. At the dump entrance, you press the phone to a dirty glove. You spread scattered gas receipts across the rented room carpet. In one corner, you grip the borrowed pickup key beside gloves and straps. You rinse muddy boot soles at a gas station spigot after dark. On a spiral notebook page, you sketch a price grid for load size, stairs, distance, and dump cost. You band bills totaling $2,500 per month in gross cash on the carpet. While studying a dump trailer listing photo, you peel the cheap magnet from the pickup door. Level 2. Licensed Hauler. You measure a couch against trailer volume markings before quoting a quarter load. In the driveway, you study the vinyl-lettered trailer side in morning light. You plant a branded yard sign at the curb before the cleanout. Before payment, you clip the square reader onto your phone. You point past the taped-off junk pile during the homeowner's corner argument. On the driveway, you sort debris into labeled bins. You answer calls with one hand hooked through a blue tarp grommet. Against your shirt, you touch the embroidered chest logo before work. You lower the hydraulic trailer bed and dump a mountain of junk in one hard slide. Before the storage deadline, you sweep splinters with a push broom. You listen at the red counter while the clerk warns about renewal. Against the trailer wall, you cinch the upright armoire strap tight. You collect the purple stamped receipt at the donation dock. Between driveway staging cones, you back the trailer beside the gear. You face your helper at the doorway while he holds a stained respirator mask. Between leaning cardboard towers, you carry bags through the narrow path. You tighten the appliance dolly strap around the freezer for the helper. In the driveway, you stare at abandoned work gloves after the helper quits. You grab the empty dolly handles and head back inside alone. Under porch lights, you finish beside the sagging trailer. You read $7,000 per month in gross revenue at the bank counter. Beside the warning sign, you buy a stronger tarp for the attendance rules. You hang better straps and tarps on the wall-mounted rack. After each stage, you photograph the before and after collage for online payment. You refresh ads in the cab beside a foil-wrapped sandwich. Beside website mock-ups, you weigh the insurance certificate packet under a mug. You see the staging area like a real company between lined-up orange cones. On the trailer gate, you pin the Help Wanted flyer. Level 3. 2-man crew boss. You guide the full-wrap box truck panel into the estate driveway. Above the foyer, a chandelier hangs over furniture, appliances, and boxes your crew carries toward the branded truck. You pull a folded black uniform shirt over the dust before lifting. For the grieving client, you mark a room-by-room estimate sheet. You unroll the blue floor runner across hardwood before moving the armoire. On the porch, you call donation centers from the donation list. You stop beside the scratched dining table during the relative's argument. Through the tight doorway, you pivot the padded refrigerator corner. You lock tools inside the red toolbox in the truck. At the taped photo mark, you photograph the empty room. You hold the new tenant keyring during the landlord's pressure. Before lunch, you sort 3-color route cards for scrap, donation, and landfill. You lift the sofa with straps in synchronized steps. On the rich street, you roll the polished chrome hand truck beside matching uniforms. You hang the laminated truck checklist beside spare gloves. While the customer demands a discount, You read the printed $99 competitor ad. You load the garage cleanout near the mailbox under staring neighbors. With one finger on the decal, you explain stairs, labor, fees, and volume. You carry the taped cracked mirror through the narrow hall. At the donation dock, you push the rolling cart forward. You separate appliances from shelving beneath the scrapyard magnet crane. With the pocket calculator, you price truckloads, labor, and disposal categories. You reset blankets and straps for tomorrow at the cinder block wall. Beside the truck, you step over the yellow air hose coil. You study a cluster of ad screenshots accusing you of overcharging. In the street, you call the number on the phone speaker icon. You refuse your employee's price cut idea beside the half-loaded ramp. From the accountant's envelope, you read $15,000 per month in gross revenue. You rewrite ads around trusted estate cleanouts over the marked-up proof. For sensitive jobs, you order the thick quilted blanket stack. You set a safety cone in a nicer driveway before the crew starts. During the executor's test, you hold the porcelain figurines steady. With colored painter's tape rolls, you label salvage, donation, keepsakes, and trash. You tap the 5-star review badge over the empty room photo. For ad photos, you scrub mud from the sudsy logo reflection. You answer the wealthy homeowner's insurance question beside the piano keys. Inside the cab, you hang the framed insurance certificate where customers can see it. You straighten your black uniform collar in the side mirror. Outside a large estate, you book the photographer's tripod setup. Level 4. Local brand owner. You unlock the office container for crews at the chain-link gate. Before the yard stirs, you stand before twin-wrapped truck noses parked side by side. You stack clean traffic cones beside racks along the yard wall. At sunrise, 2 crews load gear, check tablets, and leave in matching trucks. You assign trucks across the color-coded route map by drive time density. Beside a dented lunch cooler, you hear the worker complain. You drive the branded estimating pickup toward a high-value estate. With the laminated pricing card, you train the crew lead on risk. You mark chalked parking numbers beside the office container before 7. As the dispatch phone blinks, you answer a furious customer call. You check photos on the rugged tablet by the fuel pump. Through the pickup windshield logo, you leave hauling crews earning without you. You schedule service around peak weekends on the maintenance calendar. Beside the oily dipstick, you listen to the mechanic's warning. You sort uniforms along the size rack inside the container. Beside clean cab interiors, you check tire pressure with the gauge. You face the neighbor's complaint at the rattling fence slat. Before the sectional comes through, you place a padded guard around the doorway. You print processor payouts showing $35,000 per month in gross revenue beside invoices. At the packed route board, you study Saturday with no gaps. You reach the smoking hood during the fully booked Saturday rush. Across the yard, you kick a loose rubber wheel chalk out of the lane. You beg for any box truck at the rental counter bell. Under pressure, you rearrange the tablet schedule, splitting crews and light jobs. You slap a temporary rental magnet onto the rented white truck. Beside the missing liftgate plate, you hear the crew lead argue. You place the review response template beside a 1-star warning. Under the evening floodlight, 2 crews return to a real yard. You build an emergency checklist for trucks, drivers, rentals, and customer texts. After everyone leaves, you restock the open supply cabinet. You watch steam rise from the radiator grill outside the gate. At the container door, you tape the next morning's schedule. You write, "Dispatcher and Operations Lead," atop the hiring folder. Level 5. Commercial Cleanout Contractor. You face the property manager's noon demand beside the master keyring. At the small warehouse bay, you park beside the 4-truck line. You make crews photograph rooms before removal with the tablet lens. By labor, volume, weight, and dock access, you price the retail bid worksheet. You sort reusable furniture, tools, and salvage under warehouse labels. At night, crews roll shelving, displays, inventory, and pallets through the glowing dock. You point at the red fire lane stripe during the director's warning. Beside the lockbox, you empty a foreclosure kitchen with crews. You separate scrap metal from the chrome shelving pile. On each dashboard, you replace clipboards with route tablets. You face the superintendent beside a hard hat dusted with drywall. Through numbered breezeways, you walk while crews drag couches and mattresses. You reveal tools, uniforms, and resale items at the roll-up door. Over the signed property manager card, you negotiate a recurring cleanout rate. You listen at the workbench as the accountant says, $80,000 per month in gross revenue. Under parking lot lights, you load a wooden retail pallet. You keep the eviction pile moving below the balcony shadow. Between dock traffic cones, you direct trucks so the loading dock stays open. You track a late glowing dot on the GPS screen. After hours, you open the truck photo and catch the side jobs. You throw the crew lead's truck keys across the warehouse table. Beside the greasy table, you hear the crew lead's excuse. You stack 3 evidence folders for fuel, mileage, and cash. On the control checklist, you add GPS, photos, cash bands, and inspections. You review the completion photo grid with managers before clearing trucks. At the locked key cabinet, you count assets protected by systems. You mount the no side jobs sign above the time clock. In the warehouse, you mount the blank operations board for crews and managers. Level 6, Operations Owner. You face glowing dispatch monitors above maps and desks before sunrise. Beside stacked spare tires, you walk the 6-truck lineup. You watch tablets, fuel cards, and keys move through the fuel card tray. Across the city map, dispatchers assign jobs while crews call in. You drag a route pin from a slow suburb to a dense corridor. Beside the flashing queue, you hear the dispatcher's capacity warning. You greet new hires at the uniform rack by the training bay. Around the truck, you interview the driver with a clipboard. You study the framed contract row beside the city map. Near the warped cabinet, you hear the landlord and adjuster argue. You walk the wet drywall line while crew leads wait. With the contact card, you subcontract overflow before starving routes. You watch trucks spread across the city on the GPS map. In the truck bay, you fill labeled shelves with parts. You test the portable load scale after a crew lead complains. With the routing slip, you redirect the heavy load to metal recovery. You hear drivers report from traffic beside the radio. From the bank printout, you confirm $160,000 per month in gross revenue. You challenge the vendor over the invoice packet beside stalled dumpsters. At the diesel nozzle, you approve fuel card limits. You weigh truck ownership, dumpsters, and subcontracting over the comparison chart. Through open bays, drivers return trucks full and send them out empty. You read the review printout during the office employee's warning. Outside, you direct drivers with a raised orange-gloved hand. You lift the thick transfer ticket stack at the counter. On the corkboard, you read the landfill price increase notice. You carry the torn notice corner across the yard to crew leads. Among crew boots, you hear disposal cost arguments circle. By weight, fuel, disposal, and salvage, you recalculate margins on the tablet. You add colored disposal pins on the wall map. Before afternoon departures, you speak into the headset microphone for rate updates. You face the commercial client beside the surcharge badge. At the red margin column, you see pressure across every screen. You tour the industrial lease sign with the broker. From the yard gate, you watch trucks, radios, staff, and crews move as one machine. You inspect the rented dumpster logo beside shrinking job profit. Across the leather folder, you answer the banker's infrastructure question. On the sidewalk, you call the yard broker beside the curb drain. You circle control disposal on the coffee-stained legal pad. In the empty lot, you mark future sorting bays with orange spray paint. Level 7, Waste Yard Operator. You walk beside stacked branded dumpsters and the new roll-off truck. Across the yard, a skid steer operator drives debris forward while dispatchers rotate roll-off containers. You cross the yard in a high-visibility jacket past inbound trucks. At the entrance, you inspect the mud-marked truck scale platform. You route junk trucks through sorting bay arrows before landfill. Beside the hard hat sticker, you hear the contractor demand a swap. You hook the roll-off cable onto the empty container. With recycler cards, you negotiate outlets for scrap, cardboard, goods, and wood. You stencil donation zones beside metal and wood piles. All day, drivers circle through tire tracks, cross the scales, and leave lighter. You tag hazardous debris before the forklift operator moves the pile. At the blueprint tube, you price service by container rotation. You stop beside the manager pickup grill as equipment operators work behind you. With the dispatch clipboard, you send dumpsters to remodels, roofs, and properties. You steady the vibrating office window during container impacts. At the debris netting, you handle the neighboring business complaint. You approve higher fencing on the fence height proposal. Before departure, you check the welded container number. You review $300,000 per month in gross revenue inside the sales office. From a drone feed, you study dumpsters, piles, zones, trucks, and machinery in motion. You inspect the rejected metal sample after the scrap buyer lowers the price. On the signboard, you change intake rules for clean material. You stage containers by size for morning delivery routes. At the scale display, you control flow through bays, containers, and machines. You wrap the storm drain sock after a muddy rain.
At the clipboard, you meet inspectors near debris piles. You read the yellow violation notice threatening fines and shutdown. On the dusty hood, you plant both hands and issue orders. You hear the officer's warning beside the zoning folder. With the site plan, you explain drainage, bays, traffic, and limits. You remark painted bay lines while managers photograph compliance changes. You mount the laminated permit board beside the scale house. Across the yard, crews sort debris, drivers move roll-offs, and inspectors keep watching. You defend service at the pickup tailgate during the contractor's threat. Using the manifest, you split overflow while protecting core routes. At sunset, you walk long dumpster rows arranged like inventory. By the clogged storm drain, you call the compliance lawyer. You circle second markets on the regional map inside the office. Beside the site visit helmet, you answer the lender. Before dawn, you drive toward another city's industrial corridor. Level 8. Regional Operator. You roll a scuffed suitcase through the airport terminal before sunrise. At the curb, you find the branded pickup placard. You enter a second yard under the skyline as drivers send trucks out. On the out-of-town dumpster logo, you check numbering standards. You hear the branch manager explain delays beside the radio. By truck, crew, density, and disposal, you compare the branch scorecard tablet. You lead the morning huddle by the fuel tank. Across the sample contract, you face the construction firm's regional demand. You pitch the regional map as one contact and one standard. At the lounge table, you stack passes, keys, a hard hat, and a laptop. You study the multi-city command screen showing trucks across branches. Between bridges and industrial exits, drivers steer branded trucks across overpasses. You answer the hotel lobby phone during the driver shortage. Before the rush breaks, you approve the transfer order. You walk boundary stakes for traffic flow with the local manager. For trucks, dumpsters, and skid steers, you review the equipment packet. You answer the regional contractor's doubt across the bid binder. With safety metrics and response times ready, you present the branch photo board. You mark trucks, containers, and managers at the branch map. Late in flight, you watch the tray table phone flash with calls. You touch the melted birthday candle at the kitchen counter. During the family call, you freeze as a branch emergency rings. You snap the curtain pull in the hotel room. On the pillow, you hear your spouse's accusation through the phone. You roll the suitcase into the job trailer after landing. From the passenger seat, you judge decisions against the route sheet. You hear the accountant say, $650,000 per month in gross revenue, through the speaker bar. On the monitor, drone footage shows branch yards launching trucks in the same hour. You read the authorization form after the manager asks for authority. Beside active lanes, you draft the branch authority chart. You watch waste traffic like air control at the operations screen. You inspect the parts cage serving one fleet standard. Beside the appointment card, you handle the client's cancellation threat. You pair the weak branch with the strongest manager on the board. In the rental car, you record a voice note at the wheel. You title the waveform, "Stop Being the Emergency Contact." Across 3 yards, Nightlight catches trucks, containers, forklifts, and crews. You hand the authority badge to the branch manager and walk away. Level 9.
Junk removal empire owner. You ride past headquarters gates behind the executive vehicle grill. As the morning shift begins, convoys form, screens glow, machines start, and crews gather. You overlook the working yard below from the office window. Across the yard, executives handle assignments over radios while you walk.
You question the operator with the tablet between roll-off trucks. Beside the site model, you face the developer's timeline demand. You fasten the founder hard hat logo above tailored workwear and clean boots. Inside training, you watch new crew leads study safety footage. You review drone feeds of multiple yards as convoys leave under different skylines. At the podium, you answer the municipal official's storm debris demand. You present the emergency binder with fleet, containers, routes, and recycling capacity. From the shuttle, you step into a branch yard inspection. You inspect the locked parts cage aisle for city moving supplies. On the dispatch floor, you watch every city live across the wall. You face the national property firm badge across the table. With nameplates set, you let branch presidents answer operational questions. You study an endless dumpster row stretching like a train line across the yard. Between sites, you leave executives running service from the war room table. You hear the buyer say, $1,200,000 per month in gross revenue, through the speaker puck. From the branch president, you read the competitor bid packet. You study the locked disposal agreement targeting expansion markets. After a manager slams the door, you call regional executives into a war room. You listen as executives argue margins against anchor client defense around coffee cups. Across the battle board, you divide the fight into capacity, retention, bids, and alliances. You watch fleets and managers move across the map like one pulled lever. Along gates, jackets, dumpsters, walls, and binders, you trace the logo installation. You answer the banker's pause question beside the valuation folder. With one hand raised, you point to the infrastructure diagram showing unblockable owned routes. You receive the executive site brief at the debris lines. Across the contract wall, you scan signatures from developers, municipalities, and property firms. You watch operators use skid steers to sort debris mountains, while dispatchers reroute trucks live. Across the service window chart, you answer the national client's challenge. You revise the master contract for term, volume, and disposal access. From the office desk, you overlook machines, people, and routes. On the catwalk, you point outward as city screens turn green. You watch executives fill the video wall from operating sites. At the fence, the competitor's rep watches your roll-offs arrive first. On the pickup hood, you sign the regional contract stack. From above, you watch the junk removal empire move across yards, fleets, screens, and debris.